Welcome to the Rational Discourse Podcast, May 25th, 2013, analyzing the human experience and answering the questions that affect us most. This is Sean.
And this is Daniel.
And this is the first of many discussions we will be bringing you. Today we'll be discussing social media and its effect on the world, but before we get to that, let's take a look at what's in the news. Just recently we had a collapse of the I-5 bridge in Washington State.
Further evidence that our infrastructure is slowly collapsing and falling apart.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not exclusive to just Washington. It's a problem that's happening everywhere.
Guess we need to put a little bit more in the budget for roads and stuff, huh?
Yeah, that would definitely be beneficial.
It would definitely help around Richmond as well.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of areas where it could use a little bit of work.
I'm surprised at how bad the roads are in the more wealthy areas. And what I mean by wealthy areas, I mean when you go past the speed limit sign and it says additional $200 fine for speeding. That's there because the wealthy people there, don't want you speeding in their neighborhood.
Yeah, and then they put in speed bumps and everything. But
not even the speed bumps, just bad roads.
Well,
I mean, just
big
road
construction,
all the road construction, and the way they leave it, I can't believe it's legal. But I wonder when was the last time that this bridge was inspected or filled or whatnot.
Well, and also,
the
limited amount of inspectors that they have. That was the problem that they had with the Deep Horizon oil.
The oil rig.
Oil rig back in what was it, 2010,
April 20th.
Which that was one of the problems they had, was they didn't have enough inspectors to go around. So I would imagine that there's a similar issue.
But in this one, also what happened was a truck hit a support beam. So,
but if a truck hitting a support beam can take a bridge down, then it's not a good bridge.
That is a good point.
We also had recently the attack. There was an attack in Britain. I'm sure most of you are aware of two men killing a British soldier, decapitating him in the streets. It's supposedly they were doing it. They had mentioned to the woman that they were doing it out of like a revenge killing, basically for Muslims that had been killed by the soldiers themselves.
Now, what I heard is that they did want to start war in London that night. Well, it's kind of hard to start a war with only two guys. I think you need a few more people.
I don't sit here and try to say that I understand the Muslim faith, but most of them believe if they die in that fashion that they're going to be rewarded in the afterlife. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were just looking to get killed right
72
there.
Versions.
and go ahead and expedite the process. But
now what was awesome with that is the lady.
Yeah,
Banff. Yeah. Straight up Banff. She is.
I don't really know how I like using badass motherfucker to describe a woman.
All right, so if a guy just chopped up another person in the street,
no, I'm not saying it because
would you just stand up and be like, and ask?
I'm not saying it because of how she did it. I'm saying the designation of motherfucker to describe a woman. So, but that's more of what I was getting at. The actual words. Okay. Yeah, but no, definitely she was ballsy in that particular scenario, for a lack of a better word.
That's amazing.
Some people they make the right choices when they're in a situation that a lot of people, you saw what everybody else did. They were standing back. They didn't want to have anything to do with it.
No.
They weren't going to intervene to help this guy out, which to me kind of seems a little, I'm not saying that I would do better in that scenario.
Now, if you were in that scenario and there were 200 people around you, do you think you could be the one to be like, guys, I know he's got like knives and stuff, but there's 200 of us?
Yeah. Well, they also had guns too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Apparently they had, but it was like a revolver. So,
Hey,
Yeah.
can only take 6 of us out.
Yeah. So, but well, no, not a. Might not have been a revolver. I don't remember exactly the word she used. She either said a
Some
pistol
sort of
or a
handgun.
revolver. It was some sort of handgun, so I can't remember exactly what she said. But yeah, apparently this article that I have right here, they're talking about how one of the boys, well, I say boys, he was 22, was actually deported back to Britain when he was captured in Somalia. He was deported for being linked to an Islamic terror cell. So I mean,
they're British nationals.
well, yeah. Actually, a lot of the times when you see these attacks, they're native to the country in which they commit the crime, but because they've converted and they view their actions, of the West or
Man, can't do that shit in America. We will drone strike the fuck out of you.
yeah. Although they haven't actually used drones on American citizens on American soil.
Oh,
yet.
that's okay. Yeah, that's right.
But,
Okay.
no, but that report recently, they weren't on American soil,
Yeah.
but they were American citizens.
I guess
But,
is that the exception to the rule?
yeah, I guess so. So far, but I mean they were trying to push through legislation that meant that they could
Yeah.
use drones on American soil. I don't know if it went through or not. I don't remember specifically, but I mean this just goes to show you they linked them to terrorism. You would imagine they would have had a little bit more of a watchful eye on them. Not to say that they any wrongdoing was.
I mean,
involved,
at any
but-
point, anyone can just go out and start killing people.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyone on the planet, if you want to, you can just walk out of your door, grab your kitchen knife, and just start slaying people. You can do that. Doesn't matter who's watching you. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how close they are. You could just walk right up to a cop and stab him in the face.
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
just
you
keep going.
You never know people's intentions, unfortunately, until it's too
So-
late. I mean, a lot of times. I mean, sometimes you might be able to perceive something, but anyway, let's transfer over to a more enlightening topic or uplifting topic. There's as far as in science news, we have doctors use 3D printed bioresorbable tracheal splint to save baby's life. I mean, that's pretty amazing. We had the controversy over the 3D printed gun, and
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't even know 3D printers existed until that point.
Yeah,
And then all of
I
a sudden,
didn't.
everybody knows about 3D printers. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
the only reason I knew about it is that they have been using 3D printers to make like ears, things that don't necessarily have blood flow, that require blood flow or other things, and they've been creating these. So 3D printers have been around for quite a while, but now they're really becoming mainstream, and people are understanding. Well, they're also getting to the point now where they're going to be cheap enough for commercial.
Yeah, there
so,
will be a 3D printer in the next. I'm going to go ahead and say
5-10 years.
5-10 years
Yeah.
in everyone's home.
Yeah.
Everyone will have a 3D printer.
Well, most people.
I mean,
most everybody.
You could use it to print out a new Monopoly game or
Yeah, or a
different
new
pieces.
doorknob or
New doorknob.
Yeah, just anything door stops. Because you can use rubber, you can use
Yep.
plastic.
Gundam Wing
Yeah.
mobile suit kits you can put together.
Yeah, you could start making your own action figures. Your
Yeah.
kids' toys.
You could have 3D designing on your computer,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could design the toy and then actually print it out.
But I think
amazing.
like with as far as with this particular story, I think it's really awesome the fact that we can use it to save somebody's life. Use something. We don't have to. Like it's going to come to the point where we can actually manufacture organs. They were
Yes.
working on making kidneys and other organs for. That we instead of having to wait for somebody to die to
Yeah.
take it. You can still take one kidney from somebody, but like a heart or a liver. I know you can take part of the liver, but a lung. If we can get to the point where we can manufacture these from, like you would have to use like a stem cell or something, but
Yeah.
you can at least make them and save people's lives without having to harvest them from other humans.
Now, what I'm wondering is, will the materials to use it? I mean, I'm assuming that the materials to make something that, like an organ or something,
Well, it
be
would
kinda
actually have to-
small,
Well, what they would do is, at least from what the special I was watching, they will take stem cells from that person,
Ah, okay.
and
Wow.
because you can take stem cells from adults, from children, they're within your body,
Mm-hmm.
and stem cells just evolve. Now, the older the person is, stem cells after a certain point won't work nearly as well as like embryonic stem cells, which, because in early stages of life they literally do form into anything and everything.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
at that point they're more versatile, but they can still be used from older people. But the reason that is so the body won't reject it nearly as often as, say, if you put in somebody else's organ that's got different DNA
you
signal.
gotta take rejection pills the rest of your
Yeah,
life.
exactly. So you have to worry about that problem. So, but I mean, at least now we'll have that option. Anyway, well, that's a little bit that's going on in the news right now. Let's go ahead and start talking about the main topic of the day, which we're going to talk about different forms of social media and how it's really changed the world. It's made it a lot smaller. As big as the world is, we
Tiny.
can communicate. They talk about back in the beginning of the country when you had Paul Revere. He had to do his ride, and then Jack Jewett. That's somebody that's a little bit more familiar to Virginians. His ride was actually much longer.
Yeah,
So,
but it wasn't. Wasn't as catchy as Paul Revere.
Exactly. So he got all the credit, but that took hours just to get town, a couple towns over.
Man,
Nowadays,
that would be a tweet.
Yeah,
That would be a
nowadays
tweet.
you put a tweet, and guys in China would know about it. So it's definitely made the world a lot smaller. You have YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, and even email. That was really the first major social media.
But going back to the Paul Revere thing, reenacting that today, like literally today, if that were to happen, it would be some hipster on his Twitter. He'd be like, "Hey, there's these dudes in funny suits here. I think you guys should hide or something."
Some dude
maybe
in a
we should rise
Starbucks, drinking his $5 coffee and writing his playlist or his some screenplay that he's got going on.
Some
Ben
lyrics.
Affleck up in Boston. But I get what you're saying there. But anyway, the social media has had it's had a profound effect on everything, and I think one of its biggest effects is it's really, yes, it's made the world smaller, but I'm worrying that it's affecting how we interact with each other. Because we can have 500 Facebook friends, but yet have no actual friends. So
Now, see, that's another thing. Because the human brain is only meant to carry around about 150 close people, like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still very tribal animals. Like our bodies physically have not caught up to the actual technology that we've created.
Agreed.
So having 500 or really more than 200 Facebook friends, those people are no longer friends. They're acquaintances.
yeah. That's really what it should be called, and they have settings where you can make somebody your acquaintance,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
most of the time. You're still a Facebook friend,
And
so
then
to speak.
Google Plus had like your friend circles, where you have people in your circle, in your friend circle, and then there was an acquaintance circle and different
Yeah.
things like that. I think there might have even been a family circle.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these different statistics on different social media, like YouTube. More than 1 billion unique users visit YouTube each month. That's just insane. I know there's only 7 billion people on the planet, so
1/7 of the planet visits that
you
site.
visit YouTube each month. Now, of course, that's saying unique users. There could be like people that have like 5 or 6 different accounts.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's hard to say that, but
And companies that have accounts.
exactly.
Like
Organizations, companies,
like Vsauce. Vsauce has Vsauce 2, Vsauce 3.
different subscriptions.
And they cover up a variety of topics.
Oh, yeah.
They're wonderful. And another interesting statistic I heard about the internet and data last year, that 90% of all the data ever created was created in 2011.
Yeah, I
At the
remember
time of
that.
2012.
Well, it's because we've gotten
90%.
Our bandwidth is created. We can send and receive so much faster now.
Yeah.
Their storage spaces are just like exponentially getting bigger.
But I think that's due to social media.
Oh yeah,
I
that
mean,
too. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine how much useless information is in there too?
Oh, yeah.
Plus like
all the
HD
tweets.
video is
Oh,
so
God,
huge. Like, I mean, tweets and text are very small
YouTube videos.
files, but video is really, really big. Like, over 4 billion hours of video was watched each month on YouTube. 4 billion hours. That is like an astonishing number, even considering how many people are. And I mean, I visit YouTube a lot. I watch a lot of
4
YouTube.
billion
so.
hours. What did we figure out the other day? That would take you 120 years to watch.
Well, that was seconds.
Oh, that
we
was
were looking
seconds.
at. Yeah,
Never
not
mind.
hours. That was seconds. So,
Okay, so-
multiply that by 3,600.
Yeah.
So you're talking 10,000 years, something like that,
to watch that.
to watch that much video for one person to do it, obviously. But 72 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every minute. And it's pretty astonishing, the different numbers that are associated with social media.
And now we got a new form of social media that just came out, Vining.
Fine. I've never heard of that.
What, you remember me
just-
asking you to make the Vine, the 6-second video that replays over and over again that we were
Oh,
gonna
is that
do?
what that was?
Yeah,
Okay.
Vine.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
Twitter,
not
but for
familiar
video.
with it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Vine is pretty funny. Will Sasso.
Yeah, from Mad
Fine.
TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he's so funny. I showed you the lemons.
The lemons,
What do you do
yeah.
with the lemons? God, Will Sasso.
Yeah, but I mean,
Uh,
hey, we're just, you look at even 10 years ago, the difference that it's made. Like, there's no downtime anymore for people.
no downtime.
Everybody's got a smartphone. Everybody's connected all the time, every time.
and one thing I've noticed is how it's changed the workplace.
Yeah.
Because what you do at work now is you go to work, and then you set your cell phone down on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had a problem with this at my new location of my job. The lady who sits beside me was not getting cell phone service, nor am I,
Mm-hmm.
at on the first floor of our new location. And I told her, well, when you leave work, text out your desk phone number, because we all have phones at our desk, to everyone who may need to call you during the day. And when you get to work, just turn your phone off.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like you're in 1993 or something like that,
More recent than that, probably even.
Or yeah,
I mean,
2000
Yeah.
when you didn't have the smartphone.
Yeah, you might have had a cell phone, but you definitely didn't have
Speaking of the year 2000, I was watching TV today, just sitting around. Pink's first song debut, "There You Go,"
Okay.
was in 2000, 13 years ago, and in that video, she has a flip phone, an old flip phone,
Well, I had a flip phone as recent as like 4 or 5 years ago.
like a Motorola. It was a
Yeah,
Motorola
exactly. It was a
flip
little
phone.
Nokia, I think, is what I had,
Yeah.
or Samsung, and yeah, as soon as I went from that to a smartphone, and it was world of difference.
But anyways, going back to this girl, she acted like it was like
The newest, the hottest thing.
No, it was just like the end of her day. Like it was so miserable.
Oh,
not
you're
being
going
able
back to- yeah.
not being able to connect to the internet or even have service to call or receive and send and receive texts because during the workday you're working on what you're working on and then you receive a text, you can pick it up, you can answer to it real quick and then go back to doing your work. But not having that ability, you would just know the people around you, talk to the people around you. And then if an emergency came in, then they could call your desk phone.
Yeah.
But
Well, I can kind of see, like if you had a small child or something, but
Yeah,
at the same
absolutely.
time, if you think a couple, 10 years back,
your small
no
child
one
probably
had
now
that.
has an iPhone.
Well, yeah, now, yeah, definitely. But I think you can see the basic just makeup of people's minds. They're so connected into the internet and into everybody around them, their social network that I think they almost have like a withdrawal, kind of from. If they don't have this available to them, like sometimes I'll go to an area, T-Mobile. They're not. I don't suggest them to anybody, but sometimes I'll go to a place and I just won't have service. Period.
Yeah.
Somebody
you're
next.
T-Mobile?
Somebody next to me will have perfect 4 bars, and I'm sitting there with nothing, and I'll be sitting there, and it's not that I need it or that I'm worried about somebody getting in touch with me, but I'm almost bored.
You feel alone?
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, yeah,
not even
okay.
not even alone. It's just, I want to check sports scores, or just like literally, I have nothing else to do, and it's like, what did I do before I had this? Even thinking back a couple years, like it's just your mind becomes so accustomed to what you're used to. It's kind of strange.
You're a little bit older than me, but I mean, when
Not
I
much,
didn't,
but, yeah.
when I didn't have it, I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know? And then by the time it came along, I was going into college,
Mm-hmm.
and then it started developing, and I had an iPhone in college. And you went to class and stuff, but you're trying to learn, pay attention to a teacher, and write notes and stuff during class. And then when you leave, you can get on your phone and whatnot. As a kid, you would leave, get on the bus, and go home and watch cartoons and whatnot. I mean, it's not a big thing for a child. But as an adult, I can't conceptualize what it's like without this damn little phone,
Yeah.
without being connected.
I definitely agree.
It's such a big part of my world.
But I think it's also kind of made people. There definitely people are a little bit more, ADD, for lack of a better term. Like they're really scatterbrained. You're so multitasking. Everybody's doing
absolutely.
3 things at once.
And another weird thing is that it's made people reclusive, but at the same time,
Yeah.
extremely open.
Yeah.
Because they're sharing everything.
Oh, yeah.
And some
Yeah.
people update their Facebook.
Like constantly. with
I mean,
with the most
they're gonna
useless
tell you
drivel.
everything.
Yeah, it's like we don't really need to know what you're eating for breakfast every morning.
I know, yeah.
Like if let's say you went on your honeymoon and your husband brought you breakfast in bed. That okay, I can kind of see you tweeting or putting a Facebook for you. But if
Yeah.
you woke up and you made yourself a bowl of cereal and you're watching cartoons, I don't care.
Reese Puffs today.
Yeah.
LOL.
I just took a massive dump. I just wanted everybody to know. It's like
Here's the picture.
some. There's a little bit too much information sometimes. But I mean, I get obviously there are good things about it. The fact that you can connect with if you're living a long way away. Like I don't live very far from my family. It's about an hour drive, but sometimes. I work full time. I go to school full time. I don't really have a whole lot of time to go visit my family, so it's good to be able to see them. I get to see pictures of my nieces and nephews.
And that's why I update my Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, it's things that happen to you. My brother does the same thing when he goes on his bike trips, like to Bike Week. He just went to Myrtle Beach, and he'll update Facebook at each stop, and because my mom worries like hell him being on that bike, which she should. I mean, it's very dangerous.
Yeah,
but it's nice having that to keep family close.
Definitely.
I absolutely hate the people who abuse it.
Yeah, they're the people that are just way too open. Like they every fight they have with a person, every thought that pops in their head, they have to espouse it to everybody else.
Stop posting on Facebook. That shit goes to Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's what Twitter's for.
Yeah, the instant
Twitter's for your
everything.
random stupid
Yep.
thoughts and 140 characters or less. Stop doing that tweet longer shit.
Yeah.
All right? It's
and people
140
that
characters.
hashtag on Facebook, it annoys the
Oh, yes. That is Twitter.
But I tell you one thing that's really pretty awesome that Facebook does give you, or pretty much any social media, like people that that get reunited with people from their past that they maybe lost touch with, or even like
Yes, that's a
missing
great
people.
point.
They've the ability to get information to other people
Absolutely.
quick is incredibly awesome.
Now, that is what my parents have been discovering. They're in their 50s now. So what they're discovering is people that they went to high school with who they maybe didn't talk to afterwards, because there's no real avenue for it. I mean, you got to call them. And when you call someone, you should have a purpose for calling them. You don't just call them just to be like, hey, what'd you do today? When you didn't really know them that well, but you knew who they were, And as you get older, the events in your past, they shine brighter, things that may seem minuscule, they
You get nostalgic a little bit every once in a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So finding old high school friends on Facebook and being like, oh, look at their kids, look what their kids are doing,
Yeah.
and look at what they've accomplished since then. I haven't seen them in so long, and maybe you even were buddies in high school. I have people I was
or
friends
maybe
with
it's
in high
people that
school
you couldn't stand,
you know,
and then now you've seen them change into somebody that might actually be a decent human
yeah,
being.
and they've completely changed their
Yeah.
life, and they're doing great things. Maybe they're doing charity, and it's just
Yeah.
it's nice being able to go back and see that stuff,
Yeah.
and that's
I'll-
another
I'll-
great aspect of what social media has brought
I'll,
us.
I'll agree completely.
Again, I hate the people who abuse it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean that leads, and there's a lot of negatives, obviously.
The complete boomerang to that, the opposite
Yeah.
side is bitches.
Yeah.
Bitches is the opposite side of that. Bitches. And what I mean by bitches, I mean mostly it's women. Be honest. Come on, women. Mostly it's you. And where you friend someone on Facebook, but you don't actually like them. You just want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or you friend someone on
it's
Facebook.
basically cyber stalking.
It's cyber stalking.
Yeah,
It's
that's essentially what it
100%
is.
cyber stalking,
Yeah.
which I don't like. I like old school stalking. You know, I like rolling around in the dirt and hiding behind bushes.
Yeah, it's a little bit. You got to use your ninja skills.
You
at
gotta
that
use your
point.
ninja skills. It's a great workout. Real
Yeah.
life stalking is a really great workout.
Yeah.
These fat bitches, they gotta start real stalking.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's definitely negatives. People. One thing that really annoys me as far as these instant, people, and I'm definitely guilty of this. People will say before they think. They'll make a statement and and they won't realize like what repercussions it might have. And a lot of the problem, and now people are tweeting before they think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so
once you hit post,
yeah, once you
it's
hit post,
done.
and it doesn't matter if you redact it, if you delete it later.
Yep.
It is the internet. It is there. And our culture is so obsessed with political correctness, so obsessed, and it's almost to a
Absolutely.
point
That's
of
annoying.
it's kind of
It's
disgusting
fucking
personally.
annoying. Yeah.
Because I think.
I think it's
If
weak.
it-
I think it's a weakness.
Agreed.
I truly think it's a
Well, I
weak
mean, we
aspect
should-
of our culture.
We should obviously have a general respect for other humans.
yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Damn, don't say that. you
Yeah,
know?
there are certain things you
But
maybe
most
should
of it's
say.
done through comedy. Most of what's
There is a
insulting
lot
is
of
done through
comedy.
comedy, and someone's like,
But even if it's not done as comedy, you can just say, okay, that person is somebody I don't want to deal with, and just you can delete the person, you can get rid of them,
Yeah,
you can
just
ignore them. It
walk
is
away.
so easy. If somebody says something that you don't like, ignore it. That is one thing I've always had in my life, and I just don't understand how people obsess about little things that are just they are completely pointless to you. They don't have an impact. They only impact you because you allow it to impact
yeah, they're
you.
just trying, and then I mean, it really seems like it's
I'm not talking about the
aimed
big
towards,
things, but-
it's aimed towards famous people,
Yeah.
And we saw this back in the early 2000s, or was it late 90s? I don't know, when Eminem first came on the scene.
Yeah.
And people were
Well, I mean, he's
all
a
upset about
very-
him. Don't
yeah.
listen to the CD,
Yeah. Yeah.
And nowadays you can just be like unfollow on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally delete stuff that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
You can literally click an X and it'll say delete, and you can hit delete and it's gone forever, and you don't have to read it.
Exactly.
You can just move it out of your life, and you can unfollow, you can defriend. You don't have to have these people in your life. And if you don't want to defriend someone, you don't want to insult them, you can just hide their timeline
Yeah.
updates. If you want to be a little bit more,
not so
under the radar.
Yeah, under
I
the
guess you
radar.
could say.
Yeah.
But I think those people want to be offended.
I
That's why
think
they
it's
read
a. I think it's an
just looking
outlet
for
for
something to
them.
bitch about.
Yeah, it's something for them to get attention. When people complain and bitch about things that don't really pertain to them, or even if it does pertain to them, but it's not of great importance. I think a lot of times they're really just doing it in order to get attention. That's get over it, people. Really. I mean, if you're going to complain about something, at least make it worthwhile.
Now, speaking of like famous people and how they will sometimes offend people, I want to see a politician come out and say shit like that. A politician to come out and say things that maybe people won't like, you know? And just be like,
well, there's
"Dude,
plenty of politicians that say things that people don't like. What I want to see is the politicians say what they actually think.
Yeah,
that's a
okay.
huge difference because there are very few of those.
and be intelligible about it, you know?
You know, like I was a big supporter of Ron Paul. I still kind of am. I mean, you can dislike some of his ideas.
It's just when he came out and he said, "I don't like black people." Out. I'm joking.
I mean, that was blown out of proportion. Was he, was he, at fault for that? Absolutely, because it was under his. He allowed his name to be printed with it.
Yeah.
Whether or not he knew about it, whether or not he was directly involved, is irrelevant. If you print something with your name on it, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
So you got to be better at, oh, I don't have time. Okay, well, you're still going to take the heat. So, in that regard, regardless of how much he had to do with those letters that espoused all that hate, is one thing. But
regardless, social media killed his campaign.
Well,
Slayed him.
that was prior to social media. Those were pamphlets. There were pamphlets that were handed out. It was like a newsletter.
Oh, I read it on Twitter. I read it on Twitter.
But that was
I saw retweet. I mean, that's where I saw it.
I got you.
And that's. I mean, I didn't research it too. I didn't research or anything, but it just retweet after retweet and articles about it, and it was all through Twitter.
Yeah.
And it was right before they were making the decision for who was going to be the Republican candidate, and that's when I started seeing it on Twitter.
He really didn't have a chance before that because he's not a Republican.
Yeah, exactly.
That's he only ran as a Republican because independents have no chance.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. I voted independent because and people will say I wasted my vote. No, I didn't, because I was either voting independent or I wasn't voting at all.
Yeah.
So the fact that I voted Gary Johnson, it doesn't matter.
And that's not a waste of a vote.
Exactly.
That's you using your vote for what you believe in, which is the point of voting.
Exactly. You vote. I don't vote for a party. Yeah. I don't actually even ascribe to a particular party.
You vote for a person. You vote for
and then I vote on the views. I vote on the views.
Yeah.
Like what each individual person has views, and I saw his as being the closest to my personal views. But yeah, no, I mean, as far as the politicians are concerned, really would love to see more being a little bit more open and not bowing to this social.
Bipartisan.
Well, even especially the bipartisan pressure. If you're a Republican and you say gay marriage is fine with me, you're ostracized.
Oh yeah,
it is so against their philosophy. They've come. I used to look at Republicans and say I can understand. Fiscally conservative. I'm very fiscally conservative. I'm socially liberal, so I mean, there's a lot of liberal views, but it's individual. I don't want to classify myself one way or the other because different views I have different beliefs on. I think as far as with money, I really think we should invest in education a lot more than we do.
I think I think every American can agree with that because most Americans have gone through public school systems and know what they're like.
Well, the problem is the Board of Education. It's a good thing, but it's not, because it's a good idea. It's kind of like, a lot of these philosophies are good ideas, but they're just not implemented properly. Yeah. There's a lot of waste, there's a lot of red tape, and that can really slow the process down. But good
ideas not implemented correctly.
Yeah.
Kind of like communism.
Well, I don't necessarily consider communism a good idea, but I definitely was not implemented properly. I will agree with that. I mean, there's back to social media, and we can look at the politics. I watch a show. I only get to watch it online because it's on HBO, so I don't get a chance to watch it all the time. But on YouTube, Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher, and whether or not you agree with him or not is irrelevant. He has multiple views on there for a reason, to kind of allow for a general discourse with multiple different topics. It allows multiple opinions. Doesn't necessarily agree with them all, but he at least allows them to speak their point. There was one, I believe he was a Democrat from New Jersey. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was talking about how he can really get in touch with his constituents, and he they can tweet him, or they can Facebook him, they can talk to him and tell him about something that's going on at this time in this area. So I mean, he's really involved in staying connected with the people that he represents, and I think that's awesome. I really wish we had a lot more of that, where because politicians are supposed to be representative of the people, and so if they're not representing the people as a whole, then what are they doing? You can look at
They're making rich people rich.
exactly. I mean, you can make whatever assumption you want.
Military industrial complex.
Yeah, and it's
Get
like
on your 10 hats, people. We're going full conspiracy here.
well, it was like the gun. 90% of the American public wanted to increase gun restriction, but yet it got stopped because special interest groups, they were all paying. I'm going to make an assertion, but they were probably paying off the not Republicans, but all of them, in order to make sure that this got squashed. And when 90% of the American public wants something, now I don't know where that probably came from a poll. How can that be 100% accurate? But even if it's not 100% accurate, it's got to at least be closer to the truth than. If you're at 90%, even if it was off by 30%, you're still at 60%.
Yeah.
That's still a majority. And how is there so much of a trouble getting what the majority of the people want? Because that's what a democracy is.
Yeah. When I see those polls on TV, I straight up ignore them.
For the most part, I do too.
They post a question. They say, "Well, this is what the American people are saying." And I go, I never received that question. Where was that survey taken?
A lot of these polls...
Did they send it out through Facebook? Because they could send all of these polls through Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take a political survey concerning the future, your future, the future of America? Yeah, I'll take a survey for these polls. Mm-hmm. And then, let's say they just dish them out. 5 questions at a time. Answer them. Okay, let's say it comes out once a month. Yeah, I'll answer some polls. Why not? Mm-hmm. That would be a real poll. They could do it through the internet. Mm-hmm. Who are they asking?
Yeah. Well, it's people with
social media can easily solve that.
Oh, and some of them do social media from time to time. Now, whether or not I agree, I've never gotten a poll, I've never gotten a call, I've never gotten
to follow certain people.
An email. I guess
that would make sense.
Yeah. Where they get it from, but either way, even like I said, even if that number is off, I think it still shows that there is a majority of that particular. No, that's one singular point, but.
Another problem I have, you were talking about this governor who tweets his people and whatnot. I feel like even though the politicians are on Twitter now, it still hasn't made them feel like real people. Yeah. They talk so grandiose all the time. I mean, look at Obama's last speech.
Well, it's very elitist, yeah.
Yeah, and we need to do this. And then we will close, and... They're not talking like real people. I want to see a State of the Union address where the president sits down and goes, "All right, listen, look, we're having troubles. All right,
yeah,
I'm going to put money into the school system. I'm going to back up off the military. That's what's happening. All right, deal with it. I'm real."
I mean, I think there's more. It's more of a I don't even want to say like respect for the office, but I think it has a lot to do with tradition.
Yeah.
So I kind of get that. I don't really even care how they say it, as long as they say it and mean it and do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you say something, if you at least attempt to get it done and it doesn't get done, that's one thing. But if you don't even make an attempt, like, what is that? Or you go the opposite direction?
But it just seems so fake.
Yeah.
They just seem so fake.
Well, I mean,
I
don't think social has affected that, though. I mean, I think that's just how politicians are.
Dirty liars. Dirty liars.
That is what politician is in the original Greek, I believe. So, anyway, there is, as far as politics are concerned, this is more of a political idea. A really dramatic example of how social media has really affected people as far as coming together for a cause. People that live across the country can put their views out, and you kind of got people getting together with their views, and it allows for a general discussion between people, and people can can really get together with their views, and that maybe they might not have been able to do before. But there was one instance, actually it happened earlier this year, where they were trying to push through the gay rights, and I'm sure everybody's seen it, because from the Facebook analysis, more than 2.7 million people changed their Facebook profile photo to the equal sign, the red background, and
I changed mine to just 2 vertical parallel bars, so it wasn't horizontal; it was parallel.
Okay.
To stand
Were you trying
for,
to make a point, or
to stand for that gay people walk parallel with the heterosexual people.
Okay. I don't think they necessarily meant that they lay. I don't think that was their understanding. I think it was meaning equal.
Oh.
But good try there.
All right, well, I missed that.
I have a feeling that was probably done more for humor than anything, but yeah.
No, I really did do it. But no, I did do it for humor. I did it basically just to make fun of people who were changing.
I kind of agree. It was a tad bit overdone, but it shows you that that people will do anything for a
changing
cause,
my profile picture is gonna make.
I don't think most people did
gay
it
rights
to
pass.
make a gay. Yeah, I don't think most people did it to support the cause, to tell you the truth, as much as it was to point out their political view on that particular instance. But anyway.
But yeah, I don't think someone over in Idaho was looking at a survey of how many people changed their profile picture.
Yeah.
They may have been. Who knows? So, all right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I had some other things as far as some other statistics on social media, but I mean, I think we've
shopping.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it hasn't been a huge impact, but
Groupon? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I mean,
Groupon.
As far as
Groupon's been killing it.
Yeah, Groupon does do a lot of things.
Living Social. Now, Living Social is awesome because that actually brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love Living Social. You get deals on activities, and you can meet up with other people.
Yeah, well,
maybe some ladies.
I mean, as far as social media impacting that, it allows people to show what they've bought. Like, I mean, I know there's a couple of different websites where you can literally link, like, I just bought this off Walmart.com or Amazon or, wherever they're going, and you can promote your brand.
Dirty Walmart.
It has allowed, apparently there are some increases, but I've also read some statistics where it's impossible to really know the full impact of it.
I mean, every company has a Twitter right now. You have to.
For the most part,
you absolutely have to. And you can tweet out deals. You can, tweet out events.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
sale
everything
events,
that you're doing. You can just spread the word. I mean, that's the whole point of social media is mass communication.
Yeah.
Instant mass communication. Again, the British are coming.
Well, if we ever have to worry about the British coming in, we'll definitely be able to communicate that a lot better next time.
Dirty Britons. I'm just joking, Britain. I love you. You guys are cool with your guys.
I think the new Britons will probably be North Korea or something like that. Although they'd have to figure out how to get here first.
Okay.
They'll build a boat.
North Korea cannot afford to fly here.
Just one boat.
Can't afford it.
Just one boat, though.
One boat.
Yeah.
Or a submarine. They'll just be like packed in there like sardines, just kind of like laying.
Oh man.
All stuffed in a tube.
That's going to be all for today's podcast. We hope that we've given you something to think about. Just remember to follow us on Twitter at RATDiscoursepod and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/rationaldiscourse. If you have any questions or comments, send them to us through one of those two, and we will try to address them on future podcasts. This has been Sean.
And this is Daniel.
We will leave you with a quote from Thomas Jefferson. Be polite to all, but intimate with few. So long and good day.
Night, folks.